Most people, they're playing checkers, emotional, loud, reactive you. You're going to play chess, silent, strategic, deadly, because once you learn these 6 rules, you won't just win arguments. You'll own the room, break minds, and build empires in silence. This isn't about being liked. This isn't about making friends. This is about absolute power. The kind that bends situations to your will without raising your voice. These 6 rules. They don't just help you outsmart people. They transform you into someone who can't be played. Let's get into it. Controlling your emotions is the highest form of power in every conversation, every negotiation, every social setting. The person who loses emotional control instantly gives away authority. You can see it happen in real time. The moment someone gets flustered, raises their voice, or starts defending themselves emotionally, they've signaled weakness, their frame collapses, and now the entire room sees. That's not dominance, that's exposure. Emotional control is not about being numb or robotic. It's about being calculated. It's about responding, not reacting. A reactive man is predictable, and anything predictable can be exploited if your opponent knows that certain words or actions will trigger you. You've already lost. You've given them a button to press anytime they want control. But when you are unshakable, when your facial expression doesn't change, your tone stays level, and you're still thinking clearly while everyone else is spiraling, you become a psychological wall they can't climb. People confuse emotional expression with strength. That's a lie. You being angry, anxious, or overly passionate makes you vulnerable. It gives others something to work with. It exposes how you feel, and once your feelings are visible, they're targetable. If someone can get a reaction out of you, they control you. Think about the last time someone made you angry. Did you feel in control when you were yelling or texting back in frustration? No, you were emotionally hijacked. Your ego was driving, not your logic. That's how amateurs move, and amateurs don't win. Professionals stay ice cold. You can insult them, challenge them, lie to their face, and their pulse doesn't change because they're not playing for that moment. They're playing for the bigger move. Now understand this, the frame is the invisible battlefield. Whoever sets the frame controls the reality. If you're emotionally reactive, you've let the other person define the terms you're playing inside their frame. They're making the rules and you're just trying to survive. But when you're emotionally grounded, you control the narrative. You decide what's important. You decide what gets attention. You decide when to speak, when to pause, and when to walk away. The man who controls the frame controls the room. Most people live inside emotional reflex. They get triggered. They panic. They feel the need to defend themselves. But here's the secret. You don't have to react to anything. You don't owe anyone an emotional explanation. Just because someone throws chaos at you doesn't mean you have to catch it. Let them exhaust themselves trying to get under your skin. The more they try, the more they expose themselves. You, on the other hand, remain still, calm, calculated. That's dominance. You don't win power by ouching people. You win power by making them emotionally unstable while you stay composed. Think like a sniper, quiet, patient. Precise emotional control makes people uncomfortable because it's rare they expect a reaction when they don't get it. They start doubting themselves, they question their own behavior, they lose certainty, and the moment they're unsure of themselves, you've got them. That's how control works. It's not loud, it's psychological. Start treating your emotions like weapons. Don't fire unless it's absolutely necessary, and when you do it better, be intentional. You need to be the comps man in every room, not for image, but for a tactical advantage, because when everyone else is reacting and you're still thinking, that's when you win. Silence is not emptiness. It's control in a world where everyone scrambles to be the loudest to prove a point to be heard. The one who speaks the least often holds the most power. People think power is about having the best arguments or being the most charismatic in a room. That's surface level. Thinking real power operates deeper, psychological, and silence is a weapon most people are too undisciplined to wield when you speak too much. You give away more than words. You leak intention. You reveal emotions, uncertainty, and insecurity. You might think you're being persuasive, but in reality, you're exposing your entire hand. Every sentence is a potential weakness. Someone sharper can exploit. Silence, on the other hand, is unreadable. It's a blank slate. People project onto it. They start assuming, guessing, guess. And the moment they begin filling in the blanks, you're already inside their head. Rentry, most people can't handle silence. It makes them anxious. They interpret it as judgment, rejection, or disapproval, so they rush to fill it with words, usually unnecessary ones. That's where the mistake happens. The moment someone fills that silence, they reveal more than they should. Watch how people scramble to justify themselves, over-explain, and talk their way into weakness. All because you didn't say a word. That's power in any high-stakes conversation. Negotiations, debates, confrontations. The quiet man wins. Why? Because he listens, he absorbs, he processes, while the other person is busy trying to dominate with volume and speed. The silent man is identifying patterns, vulnerabilities, angles. He doesn't need to interrupt. Because when he finally speaks, every word lands. It's not just what he says. It's when he says it. Silence builds anticipation. It forces attention. When you speak sparingly, your words carry more weight. People listen more closely because they know you don't waste breath. The problem is, most people equate silence with weakness. They think if they're not talking, they're losing. That mindset is for amateurs. The real game is about tension. Silence creates tension. Tension creates discomfort, and whoever handles that discomfort better wins. If you can sit in the silence, hold eye contact, and say nothing, you force the other person to break first. That's dominance. You're dictating the pace, the energy, the focus. You're creating an environment where others start folding just to make the silence go away. There's another layer most people overlook. Silence is also a test. When you're silent, you're testing how emotionally composed the other person is. Can they handle the pressure? Will they fumble? Will they start confessing things they didn't plan to share? And out of 10 times they will. And that gives you everything you need. Even outside conflict, silence plays a major role in influence in conversations, interviews, business meetings. Letting a pause linger just a second longer than normal can completely shift the dynamic. It signals confidence. It shows that you're not desperate for approval, and the less desperate you appear, the more others want to impress you. Fill the space. When you people chase validation from those who don't need it. Speaking less also makes your presence feel rare. And what's rare is valuable. If you're constantly talking, you're accessible. You're ordinary, but if you're deliberate with your speech, if people can't predict when or what you'll say, they start respecting every word that comes out of your mouth. You don't need to be the loudest to dominate. You just need to speak when it actually matters and be silent when it doesn't. Psychological misdirection is the art of control through confusion. It's about never being fully understood, never being fully readable, and always staying one step ahead. When people think they figured you out, they relax, and when they relax, they become vulnerable. That's when you move. The key is to let people misjudge you. Let them think you're slower, softer, less informed than you really are. In fact, encourage it. Their assumptions become your camouflage. The moment they underestimate you is the moment you gain complete advantage. The average person plays life like a straight line. What they say is what they mean. What they feel is what they show. It's honest, yes, but it's predictable. And anything predictable can be beaten. Psychological misdirection breaks that pattern. It throws people off balance by presenting one version of yourself On the surface, while operating with a completely different strategy underneath, you act like you're not bothered. And meanwhile, you're analyzing every detail. You appear neutral, but you're remembering every word. You look agreeable, but you're mentally plotting your next 3 moves. The gap between appearance and reality is where the power lives. People love to think they're good judges of character use that feed them just enough to confirm the version of you they want to believe in if they think you're harmless. Let them if they think you're inexperienced. Let them that false security leads them to drop their guard. They'll speak more freely, reveal more, get sloppy. You haven't done anything aggressive. You just stayed unreadable while they walk themselves into the trap. That's control. It's not about lying. It's about selective truth. You reveal the parts that serve your purpose and conceal the rest. You might share a flaw, but only to mask a strength. You might agree with someone publicly while disagreeing privately. You might downplay your knowledge just to observe who overplays theirs. It's all about staying in control of perception. People react not to reality, but to what they think reality is. So if you control what they perceive, you control how they act. This tactic works even better when emotion is involved in heated situations. Most people become transparent. They show anger, defensiveness, insecurity. It gives you data. You, on the other hand, give them nothing. You stay calm. You misdirect. Maybe you even nod as if you agree, even when you don't. That slight nod throws them off. They're expecting resistance, and instead they get confusion. Now they start second-guessing themselves. Was I too aggressive? Did I say something wrong? Why didn't he react? That internal doubt slows them down. Doubt is delay, and delay is leverage. The strongest misdirection often comes from embracing the role they assign to you just long enough to reverse it. If they see you as quiet, don't rush to prove otherwise. Let them think they're the dominant one. Let them underestimate your intelligence. Then, when the moment matters, you reveal the sharpness, the capability, the insight they never saw coming. The impact is 10 times stronger because they never expected it. It's not about pretending to be someone else. It's about strategically showing pieces of who you are when it serves your advantage. Powerful people don't just fight harder, they fight smarter. And the smartest way to win is to make sure your opponent doesn't even know a game is being played until it's already over. That's psychological warfare. You let them think they're safe in control, even superior. You let them believe they're seeing everything while you're guiding the whole interaction. From the shadows, pause this. If you need to grab a notebook, you're not here to be entertained. You're here to level up. And if you don't write this down, you're not serious. Scarcity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. People don't value what they can always access. They chase what feels rare, what feels exclusive, what feels difficult to obtain when you're always available, always present, always responding. People subconsciously begin to rank you lower, not because you're unworthy, but because your easy is forgettable. Easy is disposable. Scarcity creates mystery, and mystery creates value. The less they see of you, the more they think about you. That's leverage. Most people make the mistake of trying to be constantly present in others' lives. Whether it's in friendships, relationships, business, or social media, they respond instantly, show up to everything, over-communicate, and stretch themselves thin. Just to be liked or noticed, that's not influence, that's desperation dressed as commitment. True influence means you could show up, but you choose not to. And people notice your absence more than they noticed others' presence. That's what happens when you make yourself scarce. You're not chasing attention, you're commanding it by being selective. Scarcity works because it forces people to make judgments without full access. They can't quite figure you out because you don't give them enough data. They don't know how you think, how you feel, or what you're planning. That confusion forces their brain to obsess. They want answers, and since you're not giving them any, they create their own, usually with exaggerated value in their minds. Your time must be important. Your mind must be deep. Your decisions must be calculated. It's basic psychology. The less they know, the more they fill in the blanks. And they rarely fill those blanks with mediocrity. They assume greatness. because they hope it justifies their interest in you in every high-value environment. Scarcity wins. Think about elite clubs, private networks, high-end brands. It's never about being the most visible. It's about being the least accessible. You don't just walk in, you earn it. The same rule applies to personal influence. When you stop broadcasting every thought, when you pull back your energy, when you stop needing to be seen, you become magnetic. People start asking about you. They wonder what you're doing. They notice your silence. You flip the dynamic instead of seeking them. They now seek you. Another layer to scarcity is time. If you give people unlimited access to your time, they'll waste it. They'll assume you're not busy, that you have nothing more important to do, and once they make that assumption, your value drops. But if you set boundaries, if you don't reply right away, if you make it clear that your time is reserved only for what truly matters, people take notice, they prepare before they approach, they show up with respect. You didn't ask for it. You earned it by controlling access. Even in conversation, speaking less can be a form of scarcity when your words are few and deliberate. People lean in, they remember more, they attach more weight to what you say. Why? Because it's not frequent. Anything rare becomes valuable. That includes your opinions, your attention, your presence, and your energy. Scarcity makes you an event, not a routine. People don't talk about the thing they see every day. They talk about the thing they saw once that left an impact. That's how authority is built. Not by being loud, but by being rare and precise. By not being available to everyone, you become desirable to the right ones. By not being seen all the time, you're missed when you're gone, and when you do show up, people pay attention. Because they know it matters. People trust what feels familiar. They lower their guard when they see a reflection of themselves in someone else. This is where the power of mirroring comes in. It's subtle, quiet, and deeply psychological. You don't need to dominate someone head-on to gain control. You let them feel comfortable first, and then you steer from within. Mirroring is the first step. You observe their posture, tone, language patterns, energy level, and you match it, not like a copycat, not robotic, smooth, barely noticeable, just enough for them to think, this person gets me. That one thought opens a door you couldn't have kicked down. Everyone wants to feel understood. It's a basic need. If you come across too different or too intense too early, they'll resist. They'll create distance, but if you meet them where they are, in rhythm and tone, even in body language, they feel seen. That unlocks trust. And trust isn't just a nice feeling, it's leverage. It gives you the ability to influence without resistance. Once they feel aligned with you, they start following your lead without realizing it. You haven't pushed, you've guided. That's how real influence works. This is especially effective in conversations where control is hidden beneath politeness. A lot of people think dominance is about volume or authority. It's not. It's about direction. Mirroring gets them to walk your path while believing it was their idea. It's not manipulation. In the evil sense, it's strategy. You can get more out of people when they like you, and people like people who reflect them. The more they see themselves in you, the more they open up. The more they open up, the more data you gather. Information gives you options. Options give you power. Once mirroring has built that sense of safety, you begin to steer you. Shift your tone slightly. You adjust your rhythm. You test their response. If they follow, you're in control. If not, you adjust and test again. You're not reacting, you're guiding the interaction. Like a silent conductor. They think they're just having a good conversation, but you're orchestrating the entire dynamic. You decide when the pace changes, when the topic shifts, when the energy rises or falls. It's invisible. Leadership, and most people don't even know what's happening. It also works in conflict. When someone's emotional, mirroring their tone and intensity, just enough to show alignment, builds rapport fast. Then once you have them emotionally connected, you slowly lower your intensity, and they follow. That's how you de-escalate without force. You're not overpowering them. You're leading them out of their own chaos by first stepping into it with them. People follow the emotional tone that feels safe. You create that bridge. They'll walk across it, and once they're on your side, calm and open, that's when you move the conversation Wherever you need it to go, it's also crucial in persuasion. If you're trying to sell an idea, negotiate a deal, or shift someone's belief, mirroring builds the emotional foundation. Without it, even the best logic will fail. People buy into people before they buy into ideas. You can have the most rational argument. But if you're out of sync emotionally, they won't receive it. But when you mirror and then gradually lead their defenses drop, they're not just hearing you, they're feeling aligned with you. That emotional alignment gives your words extra weight to mirror. And manipulate is not about deception. It's about alignment, first direction. Second, you become the quiet force behind decisions, the unseen hand that shapes the outcome. You make people feel safe by being familiar. And once they're comfortable, you subtly guide them where you want them to go. You're not fighting for control. You're making them hand it to you willingly. Power isn't just about knowing when to act. It's about knowing when to leave. The most dangerous man in any room is the one who doesn't need to stay. He isn't attached, isn't desperate, and doesn't flinch when things don't go his way. That's what having a strategic exit plan gives you: freedom, and freedom is power. Most people operate from fear of loss. They hold on to relationships, jobs, deals, and even conversations far longer than they should because they're afraid of walking away. That fear keeps them locked in bad positions, playing defense, compromising their standards, just to avoid discomfort. That's not power, that's weakness, disguised as loyalty or patience. A man with a strategy knows how to walk away without chaos. He doesn't burn bridges. He doesn't storm out. He leaves so cleanly, so quietly, that the absence echoes louder than any exit speech could. That's intentional, that's positioning. When you have an exit plan, you don't overstay your value. You leave when the leverage is high, when others are still needing you. That's when your absence creates pressure. That's when people notice. You don't beg, you don't explain, you simply remove yourself, and that removal forces others to reevaluate everything. Strategic exit means never being cornered. It means you've already decided in advance what you'll tolerate and what you won't. You've built up the resources, the mindset, and the readiness to walk away from anything that no longer aligns with your mission. Whether it's a conversation that's turning emotional and irrational, a deal that's wasting your time, or a relationship that's draining your energy. You don't try to fix everything. You evaluate it, then exit when it crosses the line. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear when you move with a pre-decided limit. You don't get manipulated. You don't get guilt-tripped. You don't get baited into staying somewhere that's beneath your value. You already know the terms under which you walk, and so you never feel stuck. That kind of clarity changes how you negotiate, how you interact, and how people treat you. You become unpredictable in the best way. Not reckless, but unbound people can sense when you don't need them. It shifts the power dynamic instantly in business. It makes your terms stronger in relationships. It earns respect in social settings. It gives you presence. Why? Because everyone else is operating from fear of being excluded, ignored, rejected. But when you carry yourself like someone who already has everything internal they need and is willing to walk without drama, you rise above that emotional noise. You're not competing, you're not convincing, you're choosing, even in arguments. Knowing when to exit is power sometimes. Silence and departure are more effective than any clever comeback. You let them yell into the empty space. You let them replay the interaction, wondering why you didn't stay and fight. That mental replay gives you control long after the moment has passed. You're no longer there, but they're still thinking about you. That's what a clean, decisive exit does. It leaves a mark without efforts. Exit planning also protects your long-term energy. You're not emotionally drained because you stayed too long in things that no longer served you. You're not bitter because you knew when to close the chapter. You kept your power intact by choosing your own terms. People respect it. Even if they don't say it, they recognize when someone isn't stuck, isn't desperate, isn't afraid of leaving the table. And when they know you're willing to walk away, they step carefully. That's the leverage only a strategic exit plan can give. Power isn't about shouting the loudest, being the smartest in the room, or always being in control. It's about appearing effortless while staying 5 steps ahead. These 6 rules aren't tricks. They're systems for psychological dominance. When you master your emotions, you silence like a weapon. Let others underestimate you, make yourself scarce, mirror strategically, and walk away on your terms. You stop playing the game. Everyone else is trapped in you become the game. Most people will live their entire lives reacting, chasing approval, defending their egos, fighting battles that don't matter, but not you, because now you know how to outsmart anyone without even raising your voice. No wasted words, no wasted energy, just precision, presence, and power. The loud are ignored, the desperate are used, but the calculated, the rare, the ones who move in silence, disappear on purpose, and never need to prove a thing. They run the world, be that man.